We are at the Museum of Comedy in London for our world premiere of It's the Drink.
It's the drink.
Talk.
It's the drink. It's
Talking.
drink talking. Very clever title. And our first guest is the amazing Adrian Chiles, broadcaster, author, presenter, all-round good guy, West Brom fan. He has a urinal in his house.
No. Well,
Yes.
are we ready? Well then, roll credits.
and he did. Does anyone fancy a beer? He's such a beefcake.
Worse than that, I woke up with the kebab man one morning.
But tonight really is not about us, is it, Ben?
Well, it sort of is. But
It's not about us. No, it's not. It's about our guest tonight. And who's our guest, Ben?
broadcaster, presenter, author, all-round good guy, West Brom fan, Adrian Chiles. Yay! Hello, Adrian. Welcome. Hello there. You want to go around that side?
Thank you, everybody.
How you doing?
All good, thank you very much.
I've got a very sketchy idea of what.
What this is?
Well, no, I've got a general rough idea, but I've just come into it blind, and I'm liking what I see so far.
Yeah. I got a call from you last night. You said, "What are we doing?" And I just went, "Well, it's just kind of talking and drinking, in moderation."
But you're a relevant guest for us, Adrian, because Adrian has written this book, The Good Drinker, which is all about your drinking behaviour at the moment. And our message is drink less, drink better. So we spoke to you a while back and on our podcast about your book, your excellent book, and how you've had to change your drinking behaviour. And what's strange is whenever we speak to people and we say, well, we spoke to Adrian, or Adrian's coming onto this, there's a lot of people who say, you don't drink, and that is not the case.
That gets to the heart of it, because there's something about the narrative about alcohol harm, which is there is only one way to deal with it, and that is stop completely. And that, for some people, that is absolutely appropriate, and it is the only way of doing it. But reduction is possible for this kind of thing you get at, and it's certainly been possible for me. And so this kind of narrative results in a kind of a binary thing. It just doesn't compute. People can't come up to you in the street and say, "Oh, well done. How's the moderation going?" It is, So if somebody will come to the street and say, "Oh, I heard you're a friend of Bill's," which is, as you probably know, is code for Alcoholics Anonymous. And I went, no, I never said I'd stop. I just sort of moderated, and they give me this look, and I know what they're saying. It is, no, he's kidding himself. He's in the grip of it, which is what you get from somebody who believes in that idea of alcoholism. The only way is to quit. Now, what's unfair is that they either think you're kidding yourself, or if they do find somehow that you have successfully moderated, they just think, well, you obviously didn't have much of a problem in the first place. Which isn't, which really isn't fair as far as I'm concerned. And the big issue it sounds like a lecture, but the big issue in terms of alcohol harm is I know so many people, and I'm in a one-man kind of focus group because everybody they want to talk about either West Brom, seriously, or now more often it's about drinking.
Both problem areas.
Yeah.
I'll pull you up, and it's that many people want to talk to you about West Brom.
You'd be surprised.
But quitting West Brom.
That really, you can't really. Well, actually, I have moderated West Brom slightly, but that's another story. But so many people are, because there's this idea the only way to tackle drinking, to tackle excessive drinking, is to stop completely. They're shit scared about going to a doctor, dealing with it, for fear of being told is, well, nothing for it, you're just going to have to stop completely. And that just doesn't compute with them, so they don't seek help. And then I think that is a tragedy, and it does have terrible consequences.
But when you went to a doctor, didn't you? You went to a doctor and he said, he gave you this choice.
Well, I mean, Okay, it's a long story, but I first did a TV programme about, because I thought, hang on a minute, I'm nobody's idea of this thing called an alcoholic. You know, I'm not waking up in a skip. I'm not waking up in shop doorways. You know, I'm not noticeably suffering from ill health or anything like that. So therefore, I haven't got a problem. Yet, on the other hand, I couldn't remember the last day when I hadn't drunk anything. I couldn't. Actually, it was a conversation with Frank Skinner. He was saying, well, you haven't really got a problem, have you? So I know, but on the other hand, if there was hypothetically, if there was a party across the road for my birthday or something, and there were 100 of my closest, 100 people who meant a lot to me in my life were in there. If you told me I couldn't drink, I wouldn't be looking forward to it. You know, it became kind of essential to my whole level of being. So if that's the case, how can I say that I'm not dependent on alcohol in some way? Actually, I thought the best line in that whole documentary in the film, which never got in, there's a friend of mine who's a comedian, Karen, who's in Birmingham, big Albion fan, lives on a barge, likes to drink. And she said, we were talking, he said, we were talking around the table as they filmed. He said, that terrible feeling, you had a skinful, and you wake up in the morning, and you wake up in the morning, you can taste like the kebab on your mouth. And she said, even worse than that, I woke up with the kebab man one morning.
Whoa!
So there's always somebody worse off.
But the thing that in the book that really struck me was the fact that when people talk about units and they talk about the recommended 14 units a week, everyone goes, well, no one does that.
Yeah. Right. So, 3/4 of all drinkers, almost, or even if you believe in them, taking a huge margin of error, let's just accept it's more than half, are drinking in moderation. Like, I realise, hang on, I'm the outlier. We're the outliers. Because
I'm not.
Okay. But drinkers like to surround themselves with other drinkers. That's social norming. So I surround myself with other drinkers, and we think everybody drinks, but it's just not the case. There are incredibly those who don't drink all the way through university.
Kill them.
Yeah.
Gosh.
No, but does anyone fancy a beer?
Well, the beer we've got is appropriate.
Is a man who actually did the same journey from the Midlands to London.
Yeah.
So all the drinks, sort of, this evening that we're tasting, hail from the Midlands.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
One of them.
One of them's from Croatia and one of them's from.
Oh no,
America.
one of them's from America, but it's
some of them
5.5 hours. 5.5 hours from Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. And this is Beavertown. This is part of the moderation aspect of the evening. This is 2.8%, and it's first brewed by Logan Plant, who's the son of Robert Plant, lead singer of Led Zeppelin.
Robert Plant is one of the nicest people I've met anywhere, and actually of that, I don't know many rock superstars, but of the ones I do know, he is by far the best. But he's a nice bloke per se. His son, as well as being the nicest bloke ever, and now fabulously rich, is also devastatingly good looking
such a
as
good
well.
I mean, it's really annoying
he's just
to be
beautiful
around him.
He's such a beefcake.
But he's so nice as well.
Very nice.
It makes you sick.
I know. And
He's now sold the company as well.
He's sold, but
he wasn't short of a few quid. And now
I know, but he's so nice and hot that you don't begrudge him. But it's funny because this is 2.8, and they do the non-alcoholic beers, and you've just seen in the last few years this huge explosion of the low and no alcoholic. When in the 80s, when we were at uni, that just wasn't an option. There was none. There's a thing now. Have you heard about zebra striping?
No, go on.
Oh no, this is not my thing. It's not my term. I just really want to make that clear. Zebra striping is the basically when you go out for a night out, you swap between. So you have a beer, an alcoholic beer or drink, and then you have a non-alcoholic, and you alternate it throughout the evening. And apparently that's a That's a big thing.
Why not?
And I think that is. I mean, that's one in the book. You talk about lots of ways of moderating tactics because you have to be tactical. I mean, and you wrote that in 21 and it came out in 22.
Yeah.
So 3 years on?
Yeah.
What's worked for you?
I mean, the bloke who I said I used to go out drinking with most evenings, we lived in West London, Hammersmith, Chiswick, that area. And then he buggered off to live in Gerrard's Cross. If there's one factor that reduced my drinking, it was him going off and living there, if I'm honest. But, I mean, no, but also, look, in making that programme, the bit you missed out is that, I had a liver scan. And I was thinking for television purposes, oh, God, this is going to be a lot of nothing, devalues the programme a bit. So when he said, look, there's some damage to your liver, I was almost going, fucking great. But
let's get back to when you were 15. Let's go to when you were 18 and you were legally. But I'm interested to know, like, where all the drinking came from. Not in terms of like how it became excessive, but more what it was like growing up in the West Midlands. And
well, just where I was.
Because you've got your Croatian background as well, and we've got some Croatian slivovitz up here, which we haven't got for everyone. But we've also got some drinks from the West Midlands, which we want to try with everyone. So we've got some wine.
So this is called Penny Red. It's a red wine from the Halfpenny Green Vineyard in.
I think Halfpenny Green we call
it. Halfpenny Green Vineyard, and it is in Bobbington, which is equidistant between Dudley and Wolverhampton.
We've lost the audience here with the wine from Wolverhampton.
Honestly, we've been doing this for 15 years,
yeah,
and we lose every audience when the drink goes round. Because suddenly it's more important than...
Shut the fuck up.
No, so my life became, a word would get round of a pub near us where you get served if you're under 18, if you're underage. We'd all traipse up there. All that mattered was getting a drink from somewhere. I remember my dad said to me, and I sort of, my late father, and he was a big drinker. And I remember when I was 14 or 15, he said, it's tough for you now, isn't it? Because you're too old to hang around the house, but you're too young to go to the pub. And I just thought, that's setting the pub up as the solution to life's great question, like, what am I going to do tonight? Go to the pub. As though it would solve everything. So I just drink what I could get older. I mean, I drank. I remember it was in the last night of the school play, Oliver, my mate's older brother, went and got us a 1.5 litre bottle of Sauve from the wine merchant in Hagley, where I lived, and then me and my mate necked it, half each, and I've never been so sick in all my life. I tried to get off with this girl I fancied. She laughed in my face. And then I went home to my mate's house and vomited everywhere. It was one of the worst nights of my life. I was like 14. It was sort of, it was potentially lethal quantities of wine, but just, it just seemed to be, I don't know, it became socially essential. If there wasn't going to be any drink involved, I'd probably think, well, what's the point of going out? It was mad.
I think that's what happened to all of us, though, when we grew up. But there came a point where we could get into the pub and we could get served legally, and it did become quite an important part of my social life. I think we, at the moment in our show, we're trying to save the pub because so many are closing. So there must have come a moment in your life where you went from sculling shit wine and puking your guts out to actually understanding that community experience of the bit.
Look,
and I assume there's some good... I mean, I went to university in Wolverhampton, so there are some good boozers in that neck of the woods. So.
Look, what I've come to realise, that rural communities... I spent a lot of time in a tiny village in Wales which has one pub. And then in the early part of the week, it doesn't open. And it just struck me when the lights are off in that pub, even if I'm not there, there's something about it not being open that disturbs me. And then you want to know it's there somehow. And the fact is, if it's not open, then practically speaking, there is nowhere within probably, 10 miles for people to commune anywhere in the evening. Now I think pubs have got to do more to attract people who aren't big drinkers and make themselves more inclusive. But, once the pub's gone, I mean, after the village shop, which has probably gone as well, there's kind of nothing there. I think it's...
Where I live, the number of people who are over a certain age who go there and they live on their own for that social experience is absolutely critical for them. Yeah. And I think that, we grew up in a culture where people drank excessively as kids, and that's not necessarily the way the next generation of kids should be brought up.
But then the pub doesn't. There's no other. And you address this in the book in terms of going out with your mates. You address it saying, where can you go that replicates the kind of closeness and chat you have with your friend that you have in the pub? Where do you go? Coffee shop doesn't.
You can't drink coffee all day.
Can't.
You certainly can't drink it all night.
No.
You can't.
But it was interesting.
Perhaps that's a societal problem. There should be. Think of other things you can do in the evening. But if you're not drinking alcohol, you can't drink coffee. Who's going to go out all night drinking decaffeinated coffee? Or you can go out and eat a load of sugar, I suppose, somewhere.
But it was interesting. The thing walking was a thing you identified as the one activity where you had that, where you could have that the conversation with your mates. Reach that same sort of depth.
But sort of you have to have it in a serious way. But meet somebody through work and say, let's get together, let's meet up for a drink. I don't know what else to do with them if it's not a drink. A meal maybe, but that feels like a bit serious for the first date. I just mean. And then what can we do? Well, you can't say, do you want to go for a walk? You just can't. You
can go for a walk between pubs. To a pub and go, I'll just have a lemonade or something. But, yes.
But there might be answers to these questions. Somebody, probably won't find them in this room, but... but there might be somebody, there might be an answer to the question, well, what do you do? Go and watch a film where you're not sort of talking to each other then, are you?
No.
Should we go for a drive together?
Gaming online?
Gaming online. Perhaps that's it.
No, that's worse.
That's worse.
No, come
that's
on.
Got to be worse.
The game's got.
No. Okay. There you go. What did you think of the wine, Adrian?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I've not come across them. I must.
Nice.
I must go.
There's a lot of good English wine coming out. Yeah, that is really drinkable. We got another regional speciality as well now. We're going to have some gin, which is made in Wolverhampton, and this is crazy gin. We've got the creators of this gin in the room. Oh. They're in the corner over there. They are from the West Midlands. So they're making this in Wolverhampton. One of the creators is from West Bromwich. A West Brom fan? West Brom fan? Yes is the answer. Just say.
My neighbour in Wales has got his gin distillery. I've learnt a lot from him. And the main thing I've learnt is that I think if you put tonic in it, then to me it all tastes the same. But if you taste it neat, you can realise what you were trying to get at with this, what the flavours are. I think the tonic seems to kill it to me. To kill the distinctiveness of it, if you see what I mean. But that's really nice.
Yeah, drinking neat gin is fun as a good drinker. We are all going to drink it neat, but this is important actually, Adrian,
really
in terms
nice
of what you.
Neat, by the way,
it is but it's made using lassi. So this is a real fusion of the cultures of particularly in the West Midlands.
Yeah.
But the folks here have made this using lassi, so they've actually distilled in a vacuum distillation using the yoghurt drink as well as all the other botanicals.
Have you got it in the Desi pubs in West Bromwich? Have you got it in the Vine or
not at the moment.
Any of them?
Not in the Desi pubs. We launched with Harvey Nichols 8 years ago, and we're still with them. So for us, it's about making sure that people understand the best of British Indian flavours and
brilliant.
Have them with food and drink, and it is responsible drinking.
Yeah.
Food and drink brings people together, and that's what we wanted the gin to be.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
And it's really nice.
But also they do a ghee butter wash on it as well, so it's actually got a really nice, rich mouthfeel, which does make it easier to drink neat than other gins. They also have a chai gin as well, which we've got some of, and afterwards, folks, if anyone wants to try their chai gin as well, then the folks are over there so they can try it as well. And it's evidence of what's going on in that region as well, in terms of wine, gin, beers. And what's your favourite beer? It's Batham's, is it?
Beer. I drink Batham's,
So they've got great brewing heritage up there.
My best drinking mates from Hagley, their son is captain of QPR, Sam Field.
Oh!
Yeah.
Right, shut your face. I need to talk to you about this.
I'm going to cut him off.
I'm going to cut him off. With Sam Field.
we're not.
He's one of the great nights out.
He is
great.
Talking of good-looking men,
he's beautiful.
Oh, he's a
Up
lovely,
close, he's beautiful.
Field the Shield.
Yeah.
I love him. Anyway, what was my point?
I don't know. I'm going to chuck a question in because we keep talking about the football. Do you think you should be able to have a pint on the terraces? Because I find this... So I go to St Albans City and I'll be honest with you, it's a really good point you were making earlier about places you go because you can have a drink. And I'm a Watford fan, but I'm not taking them there. They're Arsenal fans. I'm not taking them there. It costs a fortune. So we go to St Albans City. And the benefit of that is I can have a pint while I'm watching the game. And having watched football in massive stadiums where you can't actually drink during the game, what I find the culture is in that environment, people go to the ground and they have 2 pints before kick-off. And then at half-time, they scull 2 pints at half-time quickly. And then they try, and now, I mean, Spurs, if they can get served, Spurs, they might stick around because they've got a brewery in the ground. But most people drink in a different way in that environment because you can't have it on the terrace.
Separate the two. I take football too seriously to be drinking at the same time. But I can't. But
you'll drink in the pub before you go.
I'll drink in the pub. I do that less now, actually, because, I mean, there were so many times I end up just dying for a slash all the way through the games. In fact, I went to see Croatia in the semi-final of the World Cup in '98. Met my mate from Zagreb in Paris at like 10 o'clock in the morning, straight off the Eurostar. Got absolutely smashed all day. Went to the game. Croatia took the lead, one of the greatest moments in Croatia's history. Took the lead just after half time, and I missed it because I was relieving myself in the at the Stade de France. So
But equally,
that's brilliant.
All right. On the flip side, we were talking about on the podcast about when you're trying to moderate, and one of the things is if you're really thirsty, you tend to drink. You want to have a beer, and that first beer you scull. A good way, people say, is a good way of stopping that is to drink water.
Yeah.
And if you
don't drink for thirst, it's the same, particularly in the summer.
But there was Lee Mack, the comedian. Yeah. He says the first two drinks of your evening out, you should make that non-alcoholic beers or whatever it is to quench the thirst. But also tactically, it's quite good because you're like, well, actually, this evening's not going anywhere, and then I can go home now. And it's almost like let's just wait and see whether it's worth sticking around. And I think that is a really, really great tactic because then you go, oh no, I can. And those are the drinks that you were talking about that you can take out of your repertoire, whatever, you know.
We've got some drinks up here that no one else is drinking. The Croatian Slivovic and Baby Sham. Do you want to talk us through that? Why did you suggest we should get some Baby Sham in?
That was the thing at the back of my mum and dad's cocktail cabinet. You know, because we had such a thing. That was a thing you could nick. You know, probably when I was 12 or 13. There was that and something called Cherry B. Yeah. Cherry brandy. But Baby Sham, you could do business with that. So I found some in Tesco. This is like, and it's Perry, so it's kind of sparkling wine made from pears. And actually, it's great. It's fine. It's like half the what's the name? It's half the alcohol of Prosecco. It's about 6%. Well, you know, why not?
The family bought it back. The creators of it bought it back because it had been so sort of left in the cupboards.
First ever at its peak. It was the first ever alcoholic advert on ITV.
Yeah. What was it? There was a catch line in the advert, wasn't there?
Well, it was.
What was it?
I'll have a beer.
Was it you?
Yeah.
And he's here. Yeah. He's here tonight.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to make you drink some. Now you've said it. And this is out. Look at that. It's a proper Baby Sham glass.
At its peak, there was only two pubs in the country that didn't stock Babycham, and they were the closest to where it was made because they fell out with the glass.
It hasn't got much to it, but it's blameless enough. And I've drunk worse.
But the glasses were kind of revived by British bartenders as well. They found them, and it made the perfect measure for a daiquiri. So you found bartenders in some of the best bars just seeking out these Babycham
There's a
glasses.
way you let your little finger come out while you're drinking there. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's not the most masculine of drinks.
Well, Ben, it was launched, wasn't it, to attract the female market to the pubs as an opposition to drinking beer, because women didn't want to drink beer in the 50s, which wouldn't happen today, would it, ladies? Outrageous.
But it was also the fact that the women were going during the war when men were out fighting. More women were going to the pubs, and they didn't have you have port and lemon, and that was the only that was it.
It wasn't a drink for them.
It wasn't a drink for them. And then they launched this.
But will they do proper 70 centilitre bottles of Babycham, not just the little ones? That's the question. Will they dare to sell it in a Prosecco type bottle?
No, I don't think. I mean, you're drinking it. What do you think? I mean,
I like it. I mean, it's all right.
you're easily pleased.
I think you should do another documentary where you drink a bottle of Babycham at West Brom and see what happens.
Out of a glass like that.
Exactly.
But tell us about the Slivovich as well, because you asked us to get that. So that's relating to your...
Well, my dad was a massive drinker. My mum sort of liked to drink, but she drinks only strong Croatian brandy. Actually, she likes Prosecco. But this was stuff which my dad, who'd drink anything, he used to call it U-boat fuel when we went to... and there's a number of brandies. And Slivovitsa is made from plums, plum brandy. Is that a clear brand? And sorry, it's clear.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's clear. And my mum would say, it cleans all known germs. Others would say it's the best way of cleaning your windows as well. It's better than Windoline.
Have you tasted this? So this is Tesla, and we got this round the corner in Soho. But actually, this is really good. This is good. That's good. And actually, as a heritage spirit, when it's made well, it's absolutely fantastic, because they actually.
You can almost taste the plums in that. Yeah. I mean, Slivovitsa, I remembered it. I mean, you literally. You couldn't taste anything for the next week, let alone plums in it. But
that's brilliant. I think it's really good.
I bought it from Jerry's, which is a great shop in Old Compton Street. Sells loads of great brews. Anything you want, they'll probably have. And I asked for it, and he put the bottle on the counter. He said that's got nothing to do with the C word.
As in,
as
the creator of Tesla.
Both claim Nikola Tesla.
Well, and also the Musk connection.
But that's good. That's actually, but it's a trigger, you say. So even the good stuff.
No. It's a trigger in a good way. I'm just thinking about being in Croatia. Go for a coffee in the morning with my mum, and you'll always have one of these with a lump of ice in it with the coffee. It's an incredibly strong coffee and incredibly strong brandy before 9 in the morning. All the top doctors recommend it.
So you've talked a lot about some moments where you've had. I don't know whether we should go down this road, Ben, but let's see. What's the sort of most embarrassing thing or the worst thing as someone who's addressed their drinking?
Honestly, it's I'm more than happy to share it with you, but I've done some stupid things, but I could have been drunk or sober. The drink wasn't it wasn't sort of involved in it. I think that was one of the reasons I ended up quietly drinking so much, because there was no reason not to. I wasn't waking up in a police cell.
You're a good drunk.
And if getting arrested, or waking up with Delia Smith or something random. I don't know.
She's gonna cook you a good breakfast, mate. She's gonna cook you a good breakfast. Don't knock Delia.
I'll have a bacon sandwich, please, Delia. No.
It's the best fucking bacon sandwich you're getting.
Do you know that Let's Be Having You at Norwich? I had a real moment. I don't know whether you know that story when she came on the pitch, well refreshed. And somebody said it was the anniversary. It was 20 years since Delia came on the pitch. And I went to the assembly. God, 20 years since then. I looked at them and it transpired, looked blankly. Not only did they not remember the incident, they never heard of Delia Smith. And this was the moment I thought, oh God. Just think, blimey, I'm cracking on here. I'll have another fucking drink.
and he's in. And he's in. We're going to finish off with something that's got nothing to do with your region or your drinking history. Although I don't know, do you like whiskey? Are you a whiskey drinker?
I like bourbon, actually. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is we're going to be drinking some Mictors now. So this is going around at the moment, and it's Kentucky straight rye. It's actually named after the oldest whiskey maker in America, and they were set up in 1776, I think. But the company that set this up is a bit younger. They did it about 10 years ago. And they're making some of the best American whiskey in the world at the moment. So what you're drinking now, this bottle costs 120 quid. Well, no, because if you can get your hands on it, there's only, what you're drinking is the last of this. There's no more. So it's a limited release. And what that means is when it goes back on sale through auction... Yeah. Well, you need a sealed bottle, unfortunately. But
why are we giving it to them?
I don't know, Ben. Why are we giving it to Adrian? We should be sat in a room drinking this alone, me and you. No, but it'll probably, within 5 years, it will be going to auction for about £3,000 a bottle. So this is good stuff. We thought we'd actually introduce you to something that's nice. It's a Kentucky straight rye, and what that means is they have to use a lot of rye in the making of it, which makes it a bit spicier. So this is a bit spicier than a straight bourbon, which is corn. So we are going to finish off, because we have to finish off, with some quick fire questions, Adrian, if you don't mind answering these. So we want to know, what is your favourite British pub of all time?
That is like asking me.
It's asking you a specific question. You just have to tell us. What is your favourite British pub?
Who's my favourite child?
Well,
all
right.
Yeah.
I've got two, and I've got clear favourite. At the moment. It does change, but...
Two that you know of, Ben.
What? Yeah, I know. I didn't say which one.
Okay.
Yes.
Best British pub.
I'd go for, there's a very, very Irish place in Chiswick in West London. There's this one called Connolly's, and I really like it. And I had one night in there with my mate Paul Ears from West Belfast, another friend of mine from Tipperary, and another guy, where's Kev from? He's from Bangor. And they all said, this is more Irish than anywhere we've been to in Ireland. I went on a Friday night recently, actually, when that footballer from QPR, his mum and dad came down to stay because they had a home game the following lunchtime. But Trevor's a big drinker. Helen, Sam's mum, doesn't really drink at all. We went in, it was quite quietish on a Friday night. And Trev, I ordered 2 pints of Guinness for me and Trev. I said, what do you want? Shorty, she's known Helen, Sam's mum. And I said, what do you want? She said, I'll have half a Guinness shandy. And literally, the barmaid, Madell, was a Dubliner, went,
That is not a drink.
A Guinness shandy. And literally, the place, it was like Deliverance. People just froze. Even the horse race on the monitors stopped. Time froze, and she went to get a Guinness shandy, and I went, yeah, fucking, Shorty, did you have to? Really? It's still talked about in Connolly's in Chiswick.
But did you taste it? Was it all right?
Well, it was fine. It was a bit on the sweet side, but, you know, it was...
Okay, this is a quick fire round. 2. Your desert island drink. What is your one drink? The desert island drink that you would be having.
It doesn't have to suit the climate.
Or
what's the other?
It doesn't have to be alcoholic. It could be water.
I think it'd be the U-boat fuel. It would be a Slivovitz or something similar. In memory of my dad calling it U-boat fuel, and my mum, who loves it, I'll have one of them.
And top 3 pub pals, dead or alive. 3 people you'd like to be in the pub with.
Honestly, I think 2 of them are... I'm sorry to keep bringing Sam Fielding, but his mum and dad, I'd give...
They're my favourite as well.
They are. I'm not mad. We just always have a brilliant time, and his mum doesn't even drink. But and my third one would be... Oh, God, they're so... There's so many. I think my brother's great crack in the pub. So.
Best bars on your travels? Must be in... It's anywhere in Croatia. You just that's a good one.
Yeah, there's a couple of places. There's a couple of places in Zagreb I really like, just around with a couple of mates, and then there's a little restaurant stroke bar. He's not there, and he was next door to my mum's house on this island, and his name's Denny, and he'd finish off every meal with, he'd bring you some fig brandy, and it was industrial fig brandy with a plate of dried figs, and I'd drink that fig brandy incredibly strong with the dried figs. I just couldn't stop, and then I'd be up until 5 in the morning. I was just full of alcohol and sugar, absolutely. But I had some good nights in there.
Well, that's a good look. Number 5 is favourite bar snack. So would it be the figs?
Ooh. It's got to be a pork scratching.
It's good.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Now, when I used to present a business programme called Working Lunch, and I said, we should go and film in a pork scratching factory, how they make them. And a lot of them come from the West Midlands. And there was some factory in Warsaw. I remember I'd written to them and everything, saying, look, can we come and, it was even pre-email. I said, written to them, I said, can we come and film? We really want to see how it's done. And then the phone went at work, and it was the boss of this pork scratching factory in Warsaw. And he went, all right, Aid, you call, come and film here. He goes, I said, why not? He goes, it's fucking horrible. All right, pal.
Of course it is. It's pig fat. There's no artisan technique there, mate. That's just fucking pig fat.
When last summer I was doing a no carbs diet. Thanks, I know. And I discovered that pork scratchings have no carbs in.
Healthy, yeah.
They are like they're a superfood. Honestly, it's like wow.
And the hairs are full of protein.
All right, drinking hell. What's the worst thing you cannot drink? You cannot go back to.
Don't like anything too sweet. And rum. For some reason, I can't. I'll find a way of liking rum, but I'm not. If I haven't acquired that taste yet, not sure about rum.
Oh, you should have got rum.
Just when we were in Jerry's earlier, I bought the Tesla, and they had a rum there, just on the bar called Rumbaclart, and I thought that was. I was like, I need to buy that next time I'm in there.
And what's the most you've ever spent on a bottle of booze?
I must have spent a couple of £100 on some wine I bought in France. And that's and in fact, it was from Pauillac. I never know terrible French.
Yeah,
Is that how you say?
It
It was from Pauillac. Pauillac, is it?
Pauillac again.
Yeah.
Notes.
Okay.
Pauillac.
Pauillac. Yeah. Okay.
And then, and then I've been away somewhere, and my ex-wife just opened it and drunk it, which was her right. I've been saving it, but I don't know what. And she said it wasn't very nice anyway, so that was... that
never
was
do it again.
Okay. Well, I think that's a pretty succinct sum up of your drinking life, Adrian. My God, it's gone in a few directions, but ultimately it's been brilliant. Thank you very much for joining us here and sharing all these drinks with us. Thanks everyone else who came. Let's have a round of applause for Adrian.